When Pope John Paul died, a man named Roger Cadenhead quickly registered the web address www.benedict16.com, thinking that this might be the name chosen by the new pope. Well, when Cardinal Ratzinger was elected pope, he did choose that the name Pope Benedict XVI, causing some to question what the Vatican was going to do to get the rights to that domain name. Well, Cadenhead didn't ask the Vatican for money. Instead, in kind of a humorous manner on his blog, he suggested a few things that he would trade for. One of the things he offered to trade was, okay, you can have this web address for 3 days and 2 nights at the Vatican Hotel. Well, another thing that he offered was one of those hats, okay? Referring to the bishop's hats, give me the bishop's hats, you can have the web address. And the last one that he offered was complete absolution, no questions asked, for the 3rd week of March 1987. Well, I don't know what Cadenhead did on the 3rd week of March 1987. Doesn't really matter. I don't want to know. But most of us have a week somewhere in our life that we'd love to have total absolution, no questions asked, forgiveness all the way, right? Because forgiveness is important. We discover in the story that David needed forgiveness. And one day when the army was at war, David, the commander-in-chief of the nation's military, he neglected his duties and he stayed home. He wasn't where he was supposed to be. And because of that, he sees Bathsheba. He seduces her. He gets her pregnant. He murders her husband. He tries to cover up his actions, deceiving his generals and his soldiers. And then he marries Bathsheba, and she bears their child. And it's all pretty nasty stuff. And it looks as if David's going to get away with all of it. But he doesn't. God sends his prophet Nathan to call David out by telling him the story about a poor man with 1 lamb. Well, David knows something about sheep and shepherds, right? So he listens. And Nathan says that the poor man has a rich neighbor who needs to slaughter a lamb to feed a guest. But instead of taking one of his many sheep, he steals the poor man's single lamb. And David's incensed and says that man should be put to death. And then Nathan declares, "You're that man." And at that moment, David must have wished that he had bought a domain name that he could swap for absolution. He may have wanted to make excuses, explain things away, blame it on Bathsheba for taking a bath in broad daylight where he could see her. But instead of making excuses, David confesses. He says, "I've sinned against the Lord." And God did with David's sin what he will do with yours and mine. He put it away and he forgave him. See, you can do what David did. Whatever your 3rd week of March might be, sit down with it. Sit down with yourself and with God, confess your sin, and then let another shepherd from Bethlehem, the shepherd from Bethlehem, forgive it. That's better than any domain name that you might secure. Amen? Amen.